I'm just passionate about sharing my experience with people so that they maybe just understand that they have so much control, more than they even think they do.
What if the truth came in a gel cap and we could just pop it in our mouths and forget about it? Well, it doesn't, and we can't. But we can laugh in the face of reality while plotting our survival. Welcome to the Truth Tastes Funny podcast. I am your host, Hirsch Redpoon, and if my guests can handle the truth, so can you. Open wide, folks. Here it comes. My guest today on Truth Tastes Funny is Nicole Burbank. Nicole is a peak performance coach. She's dedicated to helping high-achieving individuals optimize their health, their mindset, and their habits for lasting success. She has a background in functional nutrition, behavioral psychology, mental resilience, something we could all use a heavy dose of now. She specializes in guiding clients through science-backed strategies to elevate their energy, productivity, and emotional well-being. It all goes together. Nicole's approach goes beyond quick fixes. She helps clients rewire their thinking, break through self-imposed limits, and create sustainable, high-performance lifestyles. And I love the way she combines lifestyle, your personal habits, your business ambitions all together into one really functional and effective package. Her coaching blends nutritional science and mindset work and emotional intelligence, empowering individuals to operate at their highest level in both their personal and professional lives. Thank you so much for coming on this show, Nicole.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation and just maybe hopefully give somebody maybe an aha moment or an expansion of some sort. That is really where I think that ripple effect can happen when we just have those, oh wow, that I see that in my life or whatever it may be.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And that's a challenging thing to come by in the best of circumstances. And I think when people are going through shifts, it seems like life has been a raging sea of constant shifts. You know,
Yeah.
I think of the image from movies where they show the ship at sea and it's a storm and you see the waves, they hit the wave, and then you cut to the whatever it might be, the deck that the people are on, and they're rolling back and forth. And it's like I feel like that's kind of how we've been, and yet we get up in the morning and try to do our jobs and go to work and try to stabilize. Um, how has your practice and what you've been doing for people been uh, been feeling for you? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because I know you empathize with your clients. How has it been? Like the last even year or so?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that that is a great depiction of like what it feels like for people. And really what peak performance is about, what truly performing is going from that overwhelm feeling to ease, going from that self-neglect to self-prioritization, going from that chaos to calm. And so for me, I've been doing this for a very long time, so there's not much that triggers me because what I know is I can control this internal world and the external world's gonna kind of play out the way it plays out. And I can be passionate about topics and I can have opinions about certain things, but overall, I know what I can control, and that's my internal emotional state. And so a lot of the times when I have clients who have come in distress with the world around us changing and things taking place, we really go inward and we say, okay, well, why am I feeling this fear or scared or sad or whatever the feeling may be? And we really understand when we unpack it, there's a underlying fear or an underlying trigger or a pattern or a dynamic that's happening. And once they see that, it no longer controls them. So maybe they're looking at this external thing as super scary, but the internal world, the reason why they're viewing this as scary is because of a past experience in their own world, or maybe
Hmm.
ingrained programming, or maybe societal traditions or norms, right, are pushing them to hold these certain emotions. And so we figure out what they are, why they're where they're coming from, why they're coming, and then we decide, does it serve us? And if it
Yeah.
doesn't, then we really talk about, okay, well, what does it look like to do something different, to not live in the fear, to not live in the sadness?
Yeah, I love the attitude that you bring to this, and what you said about uh not getting triggered, because that's that's something we're all looking for. How many times have we heard intellectually that, okay, I can't control the outside world, but I can control my reaction to it. And that's a great intellectual argument, but it is hard to live up to. It's
Yeah,
hard to say, okay, I really am, because that takes work, as you say. It takes work to go in there and
yeah,
and prepare yourself to focus on the things you can control. It's not just a perspective
yeah.
shift. It's a real fortitude that I sense you're bringing to what you do, which leads me to my next question. Why do you do what you do?
I don't want anyone to ever feel as lonely as I once felt. I was a typical high achieving perfectionist, avoidant. I would push people away, hyper independent, and I had all these masks I was wearing, and I achieved all the success that the world tells us we're supposed to do. And I was still sitting in my closet contemplating my life, hating every moment of it, not feeling fulfilled, not feeling purposeful. And so if I could intercept somebody before they get to that dark of a place, man, that just makes my heart so happy. And so I really do it to impact because I think there's a lot of hurt in this world, and I don't think there has to be. I've seen both sides of the coin, and I will say this side of the coin is much nicer. It's definitely calmer, and more fulfilling. And so I'm just passionate about sharing my experience with people so that they maybe just understand that they have so much control, more than they even think they do, if they
Yeah.
go inward.
Yeah, and there's also the qualification of, this high achievement. High achievement. I mean, personally, I'll honestly say that until I started podcasting and talking to so many different kinds of people, I never thought of myself as a high achiever at all. I didn't think of myself as a slacker. I didn't think of myself as someone who didn't work hard. I just didn't give myself the credit of saying you're a high achiever. And so
Yeah.
everything was always felt like striving. Then, the shift in hearing people talk about on a show like this, talk about fulfillment as being something that I had achieved X, Y, and Z, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And that was also my experience, except I didn't even know I was achieving it. Like I didn't give myself credit for achieving it. So it's similar in that, we're using we're setting some kinds of standards for ourselves that are impossible to satisfy, even if we reach something. Our own standard is some other thing. Where do you think it comes from? uh you know High achievers, and by the way, I think there are many, many, many people out there who are high achievers, who, it's not an exclusive club. It's
No.
just people who went out and worked their butts off, and it didn't make them happy. That's kind of what it is. But where do you think it comes from?
Yeah. And just really quick on that, high achieving can be authentic to you. It's still authentic to me. I am very successful still in a different way and at a much different speed. So I just want to make that super clear too. But where all of this comes from, and this is such a great question. I love this question because I don't think people are as maybe weird as I am and stop to think like, when we were born, did we have like any knowing? Did we come with a blueprint of like, this is what you're going to be? No, we didn't. And so as we progress, and I won't bore you with the science of how we absorb information in our early adolescence, but as we're growing, we're watching. We're watching our environment, we're watching our parents, we're watching our peers, we're watching society. We are getting ingrained. There's programming happening. And so if we're around dad who nothing's ever perfect, or I got to keep working, or I got to get this accomplishment and this accomplishment, we view ourselves as, oh, well, dad is striving for excellence. So unless I achieve the excellence, I'm not good enough. And it's
Right.
just this little nuance in our subconscious brain. We don't hear it. If anybody's watched the movie Inside Out, I do appreciate this movie. I think every adult should watch it. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how I feel about kids watching that movie, especially the second one. But Inside Out's a great movie on showing you how our emotions kind of become developed in their little filing cabinets of where they're like, in
Yeah.
fourth grade, this happened, and now I'm triggered as an adult or X, Y, and Z, right? And so we are ingrained. We pick up these patterns, and if we don't go back and say, what's actually true to us now? Does this serve us? So old me was working 80, 90-hour weeks. I was go, go, go. I didn't hold an emotion. I didn't care necessarily about having people in my life. I was just a bulldozer. Now, what's authentic and what has always been authentic to me, but those lights were dimmed. And so I protected myself over here as this person, is depth, deep conversations, a very slow day, no rushing. I actually, like, I get overwhelmed if I have to rush anywhere. And so I'm a very different version of myself, but do I still want to achieve success? Absolutely. Do I still want to impact lives? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was interesting the idea of well, there's a few things because I keep seeing the tenacity thing behind you, and I'm like, we have to
Yeah,
get into that again, into your
yeah.
word tenacity. But I think that we get confused about what success is supposed to be, and the idea that struck me was while you were talking, which it was, you know, we sometimes we're trying to change our mindset because we think that we're we're thinking about lack, or we're thinking about, old money stories, or whatever those things are, and therefore we're kind of putting bad juju out there, which there's truth to that, but it's the very notion that we're not successful, that that success is determined by the success of the money, the revenue, the bit, all those things that I think we get mixed up. And
Yes.
so it struck me that sometimes it's just even the words we use about ourselves. The word success can be such a misnomer. And it was the very first thing you said was, I had achieved all these things that I went after, and I wasn't happy, I wasn't fulfilled. Yeah, so in a way, you were unsuccessful. You had all these things, right, Nicole? You had all these things that you had done, that you had achieved, but you
Mhm.
were unsuccessful. So achievement doesn't necessarily equal success or deliver success.
Yes.
It may be rewarded in certain ways, but those rewards do not necessarily constitute success. And I think that's something we get all jumbled up, right?
Or even just what is success? Your definition of success is going to be different than my definition than the next person. And that's the big thing that I'll say to clients is I'll be like, well, why is that good? Why is that bad? Like, why is it? Where is that coming from? Right? So for me in my past, the success was what society said. You got to get married before you're 30. You got to have a kid. You've got to own a business. You've got to work. You've got to have the nice car. You got to have the perfect family, right? And so my idea of success was given to me, right? By society or what my family or what my peers, what everybody kind of said was the norm. Well, when I go to my authentic self and I say, well, what does success looks like to me? Success is freedom. I just want to be free. I want to be in Hawaii one day and Greece the next. And I want to be able to work from anywhere and I want to love people and impact people. And so the biggest thing about not achieving success, right? Just achievements is you'll never achieve success if you're out of alignment with what's authentic to you. And so then
Mm,
it again goes back to why are you not okay? What about you right now isn't okay that you're not satisfied? And I had to ask myself that question. Something you said earlier, you said the feelings part, and I want to talk about that. A lot of people don't just sit with the feeling, right? So there are times still I public speak, and there are times where if there's like, two or 300 more people than I'm used to, I get nervous. And so instead of me being like, don't be nervous, you've got that. I just go, let's be nervous. Let's just sit in it.
yeah.
And that happens with anxiety. I'll tell people, okay, you're anxious right now. Let's just sit with it. As soon as you stop resisting, you no longer have that feeling. The anxiety, the stress, the fear goes away because you're just allowing your body to validate, like, I'm about to go on stage and talk in front of a bunch of people. That is super scary.
Yeah.
Okay, you're valid, right? And you validate yourself, and that builds trust. And that gets to know you a little bit better. And that's what I mean by authenticity is like, do you really know who you are?
Yeah.
Not, not, I'm a mom, not, I own a business, not like, no, who are you?
Yeah. No, that's great. And I want to go back for a second to Inside Out because I think that my kids love that movie, but you're right. Like it's pretty intense. And my
Number
daughter
two.
watched it. Huh?
I said number two scares me with the anxiety because I don't want to
Yeah,
put
this
that speed.
yeah, that one I didn't like as much, but the first one even, my daughter watched it over and over and over again at a very young age, at like, I don't know, 7 or something like that. And it
Yeah.
was, and you know what? It it it's scary territory to go into. It's on the one hand, I think it's good to explore feelings and to understand and demystify feelings. And that's important. But I don't think that can truly be appreciated until a little bit older age. Um, and then let's talk about the tenacity behind you.
Yeah.
Tell me what that's about.
Yes. So this is my word of the year, tenacity. And I really was thinking about the word. Last year, it was all about consistency for me, really being consistent in everything I did. And so this year, before the year started, and I sat down and I said, what do you want to do? And I kept getting the word bulldozer and like just like bulldozing through doors and just being tenacious and
Right.
really having my voice heard, telling my story. And when we had originally met, we talked a little bit about tenacity. And I tend to love words that maybe have bad connotations, like procrastination or lazy or like
Uh-huh, right.
tenacity or the audacity. Like I like these words because if you reframe them, tenacity, I wrote it down, is the quality or fact of being very determined, gripping something firmly. Well, I'm gripping firmly my belief that every person has the ability to be big and huge and whoever they want to be. And so, why
Yeah.
wouldn't I be tenacious in sharing that and teaching people that?
Yeah. Yeah. And you also looked up audacity?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
because that's
audacity.
my word,
Oh, that's
listener.
right.
I don't. It's some people know already that that's my word of the year, but that's my word of this year. But what did you come up with?
Well, what I love is there's two choices. We can look at everything as working for us or working against us. And when I looked up audacity, I was like, whoa, what a great way to prove this point. So, the first definition of audacity is a willingness to take bold risks. Super motivating. Let's go. Right.
Yeah.
The second is rude or disrespectful behavior. No, I thought that was perfect of like really the lens somebody might view tenacity or audacity from is their own personal projection and preference. It's not right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
But to know that we can look at everything as beautiful or we could look at something negatively. And that's up to us ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great because every time I think about it, and I am doing it, I'm finding it where, I think of something I want to do and I go, ooh, I have a little bit of fear, a little bit of concern about it, and it's usually because I don't want that second definition, right? I don't want people to think that I'm rude or presumptuous or out of line or overstepping or whatever those negative interpretations could be. And then I think, well, am I being audacious in the sense I don't break it down the way you did, but that plays right into the way I want to do this, which is, am I being bold? Am I sufficiently bold? Because if they view me as, well, that was bold, you know, that was risky, that was taking a chance, then that's the mission accomplished, because that's what I mean by audacity this year, and
Yeah.
that's what you mean by tenacity, sticking to what you really believe in and holding on to that, because the fact is things are going to shake us and things are going to try to trigger us or could trigger us. um, let's circle back to that for a minute about getting triggered, and from a point of view of really peak performance, like how do you I watched last night the movie Hustle with Adam Sandler. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
saw it. Did you
Yeah.
see it? Okay.
Yeah, I think I
So
have.
so it was great. Came out. I think it was a couple of years ago, but or maybe a year ago. But he's a basketball scout slash coach, and he's trying to find the next superstar, right? Of course, but the kid that he's not a kid, he's 22, but the player that he's trying to get into the majors is basically getting thrown by the smack talk and all that stuff. And he's trying to teach this guy, don't let it don't let it get in your head. Don't let your competition get in your head. Um, so what advice do you have for people who are letting the competition, the distractions and all those other things get in their head?
Yeah. So there's two things, and the second part is that actual actionable that you can use. But the first thing is when you use your emotions, when you lead with your emotions, who does it ultimately hurt the most?
Right, yourself, yeah.
Yeah, because let's say you trigger me, I yell at you, right? I say something really nasty to you. Right? Now I've broken our friendship, and then I'm going to feel immense shame and guilt for reacting that way. So
Right.
we carry so much by driving with emotion. Emotion is not rational, it is not logical. It is coming from a chaotic place, not from a logical, systematic, maybe calculated place. So that's the first thing is you have to remember that emotions aren't meant to be the driver. They can have a seat in the car. We can validate the heck out of them. I think it's super important. If you make me mad, it is okay that you made me mad, but I don't have to handle it in a mean way. I can take my breaths, figure it out, talk to you normally, right? So what I teach, and this is something that athletes are being taught as well. I work with a lot of youth athletes. I think my
Hmm.
schedule is 50% youth athletes now
Wow.
because they need to have this skill set going if they're trying to go into college and pro, and it is emotional intelligence. which is using logic over emotion. And so, one easy way you can start to practice it is just to be aware. That's the very first step in an emotional intelligence equation. Awareness. I'm aware that I am mad right now. I'm sad right now. I'm angry. I'm anxious. I'm whatever. Whatever you are, you just say, I'm aware of it. Then you name it, right? What it is, sad, whatever the emotion is. And then you're going to validate. You always want to validate yourself. It's okay to be angry right now. That guy cut me off in traffic. That was not
Right.
nice and it made me mad, right? And then we use logic. I'm not going to take my car and hit him, right? That's not logical. And so that's obviously something we would do on the road. We wouldn't obviously lead with that much rage, but I don't know. There's road rage all the time. So maybe. But that's kind of the equation. You're aware of it, and it's not that simple, right? There's nuance to it, and it's easy to drive with emotion if that's what you've been doing your whole life. But you work up to it. Maybe you keep driving with emotion, but you're just aware. Oh wow,
Yeah.
I'm angry a lot. And then maybe you just start asking yourself, why am I so angry? What about my life makes me so mad? Like what aspects of my life make me mad, right? And then you go to validating and naming emotions, and then you start to use logic. Okay, well, I'm angry at X, Y, and Z outside of in my external reality. What do I want to do about it? Do I logically need to not be friends with this person anymore? Do I logically need to set a boundary? Do I logically need to take space? Like, what is it that you need? And you made a great point with audacity, how you're like, oh, well, people think I'm too risky. Well, people think we don't care what other people think, right? We care
Yeah.
about, is it in alignment with us? Is it authentic to us? So don't ever worry. People are going to love me and people are going to hate me. I can't change. The only way I'm going to change their opinion is becoming something that isn't me. And who does that hurt? Again, me,
Right.
right? So it always comes back to getting really clear on why you're feeling the way you are. And people don't want to do that, which I get. I didn't want to at first either. But that's where the freedom lies, because then you start to unpack that backpack that you've been carrying with all these emotions and feelings and experiences that you haven't dealt with. You can start laying them out and it gets lighter.
Really well said. Really well said. Well, this has been wonderful, Nicole, and I really appreciate the conversation. There's so much more to
I
discuss,
know.
actually,
Mhm.
and hopefully you'll come back again and we'll talk a little more. But let the audience know where to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at NicoleMBurbank.com or Nicole.Burbank on Instagram or any of basically the social media channels.
Thanks so much for tuning into Truth Tastes Funny. If you enjoyed the experience, please leave a 5-star review and share this podcast with your friends.